Hi guys, this is Binge, and today I'm going to be bringing to you guys a yellow-green deck profile for my friend Phil and Eric and Phil's Kantai collection deck. They basically put their heart and soul into this, their sweat. They basically bought a bunch of boxes, opened them up, and made a deck. So now I get to deck profile it, and here are the cards they run. The first card they run, it's in Japanese, but obviously they didn't pull this from the box, but they run one of it as a tech. It's the 0/0 yellow Maruyu. Its ability is you can run as many of these in the deck as you want, but they just run one. And it also has the ability where you can pay one, send this card into waiting room, draw 2 cards, discard 2 cards. So basically this card helps you draw, and they only run one of it because this deck is kind of weird. It has some Japanese cards, but most of them are all in English. But just they run one of this. It's pretty good. It hand filters your hand out. Just one. The next card they run, she fell down, is 3. Oh, that's a Japanese one. 3 of the 0/0 yellow Flea Girl. It's Hatsukaze. Really good card. It has the ability that all your other Flea Girls gain 500 power, so it's basically a global 500 booster. And it also has the ability that during the attack phase, when either you or your opponent takes a character from the waiting room and adds it to their hand, during that turn, all their characters gain -3 soul. So if you have 2 of these in the back, you're basically giving your opponent -6 soul, or you -6 soul when you salvage. So you don't even salvage into this deck at all, but this hurts your opponent because as long as you have these in the back, if they decide to salvage, all their things gain well, if you have 2, it's -6, but -3 is still a pretty big number. And it just screws around with their soul, so if they decide to salvage, it's not even worth it because they're going to get -6 soul and they're probably not going to do any damage for the rest of the turn. So 3 of her. She's really good. The next card they run is just 2 of this 0/0 red. What is it? Damn, all these Fleet Girls names are all weird and stuff. It's Kizuduki or whatever. Just 2 of this though. But her ability is she gives an assist of 500 to each of your other characters. And she also has the ability where you can pay 1 and choose 1 level 0 in your opponent's center stage and send it into the waiting room. So the center stage is basically anything in the front, not in the back. So just anything in the front. You just have the option of paying 1 and sending it into the waiting room, which is really good because there's some level 0s with like discard encore or something, or they just get really huge. So with this, you can just play this, pay 1, pop it, and basically just get rid of it. Really good card. It also provides a 500 in the front boost. You might have a use for it sometimes you don't have this card, but the blowing up something is a really good ability. So just 2 of her. The next card they run is 3 of this green 0/0 Nah, man, their names are all weird. Inaduma. Yeah. So her ability is when this card is placed onto the stage from your hand, you reveal the top card of your deck, and if it's not a Fleet Girl, this card becomes rest. So as long as it's not a climax or an event, you're basically gonna rest because your whole entire deck is Fleet Girl. The other ability this card has is you can pay 1, put the top card of your deck into the clock. When this card basically becomes reversed or sent into the waiting room from your stage, you pay the cost, and if you do, you can search for a 1 level 1 or lower character, reveal it to your opponent, and put that card in your hand and then shuffle. So the second ability is really good because it's as long as this card is placed into the waiting room, so your opponent can like send it with an effect or something, and you can just pay 1, take a damage, and search your deck for a level 1 or lower Fleet Girl, which is really, really good in this deck. Especially if you can run these into Suiciders and then get your ability. It especially helps you out early game because it gets all the pieces you need later on. So 3 of her. The next card they run is 4. No, there we go. 4 of these 0/0 red Tatsuki. She has the same name as a chick from Kill La Kill. So yeah, you gotta don't lose your way and stuff. But this card's pretty good. It's a level 0 suicider, so as long as this card becomes reversed, whatever's facing it, as long as it's a level 0, they both get reversed. But this card has a pay 2 encore. So you can basically just like run over certain stuff and then pay 2 to bring her back if you really want to. It also helps you a little bit just late game, I guess, if your opponent has zeros on the board. But this main card is just early game. You just try to kill off all your opponent's level zeros with this. And if you want, like maybe if you have like a couple of climaxes in the stock that you're trying to get out, maybe they're stuck together. There's 2 climaxes that are stuck. Paying the 2 encore for this is actually pretty decent just to get them out of the stock. But most of the time you don't pay that. You just go in there and like run over your opponent's stuff. So 4 of her. The next card they run is this card. This card's so OP. So this card, it's a 0/0 green, and this is the Hibiki one. This card is really, really good. So, this card's ability is, by paying 1, you can put this card into memory. When this card becomes reversed, you can pay the cost, and if you do, you can get one of these. And yeah, and her name is weird. She has like symbols or something for her name. But yeah, basically you can get one of these in your waiting room and call it out to the stage where this was. And then she has the ability when this card is in the memory. When your opponent basically puts a card from the clock into the waiting room, they can either do 2 things. They can either pay 2 stock, or they take 2 damage. So basically it's an anti-heal. So this card's really good because if your opponent has level 3s that just come in to heal, basically, like for example, they usually pay like 2 for them, or if they change, they pay like some assortment of it. So they basically have to either pay 4 or so to do their whole heal thing, or they have to basically take 2 damage, which ups them 1 additional damage that they had, which is really dumb. So basically, you know, you can run this into your opponent, or run it into level 0 suiciders and stuff. Pay the 1, put this into memory. You basically, if you have any of these in the waiting room, you get a free level 1. And now as long as that's stuck in the waiting room, in the memory, you can just basically say screw you to your opponent when they try to heal. And then since you banish these, they're not in your deck, so you're technically deck thinning, and that you have a better chance of canceling and stuff. So 4 of her, she's really good. So now on to the level 1s. The first one, like I showed recently, is this green 01. This card's name is dumb. Look, it has like symbols and stuff on it. But we'll just call her the Destroyer, because it's in her name. So this card's good. Level 1, 0 green. It has the ability, as long as you have this in the memory, she gains 1k power. So that's really good because obviously you're probably going to get 1. It doesn't stack, so if you have like 3 or 4 of this, she does not gain continual power. She just gains 1k. But that 1k helps a lot because if you have the other global booster, now you're seeing this thing being a 7k beater, and then you play Climax and now you see it at 8, and it just gets stupid. So this is your main beater for level 1. It's really good, especially since you can call it in early. So 4 of her. The next level 1 they run is 2 of this 1/1 yellow Yahagimi or Yahagi or whatever. I'm telling you, these 2 chicks have weird names. So what this card does is it has the damage encore. So basically, when it gets reversed, you can take a damage and then basically restand her. But she also has the ability where you can rest 2 of your fleet girls, which is literally everything in your deck, and give her 2,500 for the turn. So like I said, if you have the global boosters in the back, you're seeing this at 7. And just by resting both of them, this thing is now huge. Now it's a 9-5 beater, climax 10-5. It gets really huge. And since it has the damage encore, it's going to stay on your field for a while. So this is basically like your beater thing to go to level, when your level 1 plays. Really good. The next level 1 they run is... Where is she? There you go. 4 of the level 10 Shimikazes. These things are so stupid. And they also run 4 of the climax combo for the Fast Like Shimikaze. So basically this climax, when you trigger it, you give the character gains +2 soul. And when you play it, you basically draw a card and then choose one of your characters and give it 2k1 soul. Most times you want to give it to Shimikaze because you want to make her big enough to kill stuff. Because when you do that, she'll be at 5, she'll be at 7, and then global booster she can be at 8. So she can get rid of some low level 0s and pretty much some level 1s at that too. But for her ability is, when this card reverses one of your opponent's characters by battle, or when they attack and reverses something, if you have this in the climax zone for your climax, you can basically look through your deck and add one Fleet Girl, or one character with Fleet Girl, and put it into your hand. But you have to show your opponent, because you might cheat and add compasses. So make sure to show your opponent. So basically, this card is like your level 1 play. You play this, especially if you have multiple copies of it. If you have like 2 of them or 3 of them onto the field, basically one of them is going to be at like 7 with like boosters 8, and then something else might be at 6. And as long as you're basically leveling up at level 1 game and your opponent's at like 0, you can basically kill almost all his stuff and profit off it. You can basically, you do each effect like one by one, and you basically add like cards to your hand. It's free advantage you add to your hand. So the Shimikaze is really good. 4 of these. Next, we're going to go into some broken cards. No, not yet. Another card they run is this level 1/1 punch. It is blue, but since it's a character punch, you can use it no matter what color you run, because in Weiss, I believe when you drop character punches, as long as they're like, obviously they have a character when they have attack, they're not considered like events and stuff, so you can play them no matter what color you have. So they just run one of these. It's actually pretty good because you can pay 1 to give basically a 1,100 backup, but you can also, when you play it, you can give one of your Fleet Girls an additional 1k power. So either you can pay 1 to make one of your characters gain 2/5 power, or you can split them amongst characters and give something else 1k. And you control your opponent with this, because sometimes if you give one of your other characters 1k, now they can't get over it and they're all frustrated and stuff. So secret tech. This deck is full with a bunch of secret tech. Just one of these. Next card they run is one of the most annoying cards in Kantai. They run 3 yellow, level 1 pay 1, compass punches. These things are so annoying. They're really, really good. So what these things do is when you drop it, you basically reveal the top, you basically brainstorm, but you get a brainstorm, how many? You get a brainstorm 3. So you basically get to brainstorm 3, and if there was any climaxes among them, you choose one of your opponent's character, and that character gains the ability that character cannot deal damage that turn. And then if you don't get anything, you put this on the top card of your library, so now it's assured damage. So why is this card really good? Most of the times, and like I'm amazed at this, most of the times when they use the compass, they almost always get 1 climax. It's stupid. Like, you'll hardly see it go to the top of the deck, but it's stupid. And basically, this helps you out especially well level 3 game, because you can give this to one of your opponents that has the restand ability. So now since they can't do damage for their turn, even if they restand, they're not going to do damage to you. So this card is freaking amazing. It's super good, especially if you're about to like deck out and stuff. Like if you know there's 1 climax left and you're like low on deck and you play this, you mill, they don't do damage, and now it just gets even dumber. So 3, these things are really good. They're amazing. That's it for the 1s, and now for the level 2s. They run minimal amount level 2. The first card they run is just another tech card. It's the level 2 pay 1. Damn, her name. Zikaku. There you go. They just run one. It's probably a tech card. Probably could they put it in there because it's shiny. But I they do not use it for the first giant paragraph ability that it has. They use them for the second half, which is just basically you rest this character to give one character 3k for the turn. When I see this played, it's usually just in the back. It gets rested. Something gains 3k, so it's huge. And then sometimes they even play over it, so it's just their tech personal card. And it does come out in handy. I've seen it before. That extra 3k power gets over stuff. They just run one, though. The next card, or the last card for level 2 they run is this level 2 pay 1 punch. And like I said, since it has an attack, you can run it in any color. So basically, this is a pay 1 2,500 power to your ship girls. But it also has the ability where you can pay an additional 2. And it's basically an anti-change. So if your opponent has a character that is higher than the level that they are, you can basically pay an additional 2 and send it into their waiting room. So this is really good, especially right now, because all your opponent's decks usually have change. So run 2 of this. It's really good. You know, your opponent's like, oh, damn Kantai and they're anti-everything. Well, more anti-stuff. Just, it's stupid. Like, you calling your level 3 early and stuff, and they're like, okay, punch, yeah, it died. It's dumb. So 2 of this. The next card, we're on to the level 3. The first 3 that they run is 4 of the level 3 pay 2 yellow Musashi. Pretty good card. It can't side attack, but it has the ability that during this turn, if your opponent cancels, you can put the top card. You can mill the top card of your deck and put it into the waiting room, and basically whatever number or whatever level thing it is. So, for example, if you'd get a level 2, you'd mill it level 2, so you would add 1 to it. So now, since if your opponent cancels, they have to burn for 3. And if you get a climax, it counts as 0, so they're only burning for 1. So this card is especially good in late game because you attack your opponent. Oh look, they canceled. All right, mill top card. Oh look, level 2. You add 2 to the 3 to the 1, so you get 3. So now you're burning them for 3. Especially if you have like 1 or 2 of these out, it becomes a mess. So yeah, they run 4 of these. They're really good. And the last and final card they run, where is it? There you go. 4 of the level 3 pay 2 green, Agi Kai, or yeah, this the bow and arrow chick. She's OP. So this thing has 3 effects. So when this card is placed on stage from your hand, you get to draw up to 2 cards, and then choose 1 card from your hand and discard it. So you're plussing cards off that already. And then at the beginning of your climax step, if you have this climax, the gold bar climax. So when you trigger this card, basically you add it to your hand and you put the top card of your deck in stock. When you play it, you give 1k 1 till all. So when you have that, basically, wait up, or did I screw up? No, yeah. No, okay. That's another effect. That's the last effect, and I'll save it for a bit. But basically, the second effect is at the beginning of your climax step, you put all the stock into your waiting room, and then all your characters gain 1k power for the turn. So obviously, you know, you pay out your stock. I believe you have to have 1 though for its effect to work. So as long as 1 stock goes away, basically everything you have is gaining 1k. And then you can do the climax combo ability, which is basically whenever you kill one of your opponent's characters or reverse it, you get to send it into your opponent's clock. So you see how this card is a devastating combo, because once you put the climax, you're seeing this thing being at like 11.5 and then boosted, boosted 12.5, and then if you get more of these out on the field, everything just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and you start mowing down your opponent left and right. And then the extra sending cards into the burn damage is so good because it's the last push you can give your opponent to basically kill them off. So that's it for this deck profile. I'll bring you guys more deck profiles later on. So have a nice day, and like and subscribe to this video, and see you guys next time.